Hello and welcome to Curly Brace. My name is Rocket, and this week we are talking about the dark side of AI. Red is joining me. Hey Red, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. It's going good. This was an interesting topic that you brought up because a lot of people are really excited about AI right now, but they're not entirely thinking about the negative side that can come out of it.
So I think people are thinking about a negative side. They're not thinking about there's multiple negatives to this, but most people are thinking about AI taking over, right? Taking over our jobs, taking over infrastructure, taking over in general. And this is the negative most people are focused on, but almost nobody is strictly talking about the most dangerous part of AI, which is putting it in the hands of bad people.
Right. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, it's all a scientific achievement more than anything right now, right? Of what we've been able to do with artificial intelligence and machine learning, et cetera. I think that we're doing this episode as really more of a reminder of like, hey, out of every good thing that technology produces, there is always someone out there to exploit it, someone out there to use it, nefariously. So without further ado, I think we should kick off, and maybe we should just cover really quick, what we talked about with AI before, right? What is AI? It's artificial intelligence. Where do you get it? It's called ChatGPT, right? No, but there's a lot of places to interface with AI, and you do it on a daily basis. Go check out some of our other episodes for that.
There's a lot of tools coming out too that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah,
it's not just ChatGPT. It's not just OpenAI. There's a lot.
I really see that it's going to be somewhat like the App Store, right? Like, what AI application are you going to use today to help you do your job, help you at home, help you with whatever, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I definitely see that coming up. All right, you ready to break into the content?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about what you first hit on, which is acting badly with AI. Right.
Getting
when
AI
we talk
in the
about
hands
acting
of
badly,
bad
what's the
people.
who is the number one bad person you think of when you think of technology and doing something nefarious?
I don't know. Is it an individual person?
No, I mean like hackers. You think of hackers.
Oh, yeah, I think of hackers as a whole, like a group. Yeah.
Right. You just think of like the guy in the hoodie, right? And someone's like sitting there doing something, they're not supposed to. So how can hacker groups or hacker individuals, however you want to phrase that, how can they use AI dangerously or, nefariously, maliciously? How can they use that?
Oh boy, there's quite a few ways they can go about using it. I think one of the first things they can do is they can use, I believe there's already some tools. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head, but there's some tools that will use machine learning to find exploits in your system.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
because I'm familiar with applications that seek out exploits, right? Whether it's open ports, whether it's code issues, whether it's SQL injection possibilities and network exposure, things like that. But it's interesting to think that if you have an AI model that has been trained over and over again to look for those things, think about how much faster it can find anomalies, right?
Because it'll find it based on patterns, right? Instead of just crawling through every single port, every single server, every single network connection, where you're crawling through all of this looking for maybe a specific exploit that you think might exist.
Right.
So like, let's say, I think this company's using some sort of old Windows 7 machine, so I'm going to send this package, and this package is going to go and look at every single computer out of 7,000 computers to find this Windows 7 machine. Then it's going to determine if it has a specific exploit that I'm looking for that I could take advantage of to get into this machine, right?
Right.
And this is a pain in the ass kind of process. Well, with ML, it can use specific patterns. Like it can learn from specific patterns to determine what most likely scenarios exist, and then it can try to find those most likely exploits that could exist.
Right.
and it's aware of many exploits. It's not aware of just the one exploit you gave it, right? It's aware of many exploits, and in some cases, it might even find a new exploit.
Yeah. I think that in addition to, I think what scares me more than anything with this is the ability for AI to enter the botnet game, right?
Yeah.
Like, you think about how a botnet traditionally is acted, right? So if anyone doesn't know, you download some piece of malware, right? And you quote unquote scrub it from your computer. But what the malware actually does with all these botnet situations is it leaves some little application running on there, right? And no difference whatsoever with your computer because it's just running, right? But your computer is now actively part of a botnet, and you have one, master programmer computer that sends a direction to all of the slave computers, which is yours, and then it executes some task in like the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, and you become like a server farm essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And traditionally, though, right? Like, there's a key signature when you get attacked by a botnet, right? But with the progression of AI and the progression of what a botnet looks like and all these security tools that were built for good, right? They use AI to detect a botnet. But now on the flip side, you have botnets that are starting to use AI to evade detection, right? So it's another one of those push and pull situations to where the dark side and the white hat side are competing at the same time to try to detect or not be detected, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting because we see those attacks on a day-to-day basis, right? Same thing with DDoS attacks, same thing, which comes from botnets a lot of the time.
Yep. I wonder how ML could use, like, I wonder if it could like determine like peak usage and just start, DDoSing people at peak usage just to like blend in.
I'm sure it could. I mean, think about it. Like, what's the signature of a botnet, right? A shit ton of traffic, and usually in a uniform way. But if you can constantly manipulate like what pages of a site you're going to and, how long you're there, change the bounce rates, everything else, and you're making it look like a human just on a massive scale, you can take a site down and avoid all of that botnet detection. It's just absolutely crazy.
And they would never know. It'd just be like, oh, our site went down. What happened? And it just looks like normal traffic, just like an excess of it,
Right. That's absolutely right. Something else that I didn't mention because it was actually my fun fact, but I totally forgot, and it directly ties to this. AWS just announced today that they are releasing all of it's like all of the Google or all of the Earth data.
The geolocation machine learning data.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. It's all of the like the Earth, like, traffic,
geolocation.
Roads.
It's geolocation data.
Yes, all geolocation data, right? But it's weather too, I think, is in that. And like,
oh, really?
I think so. Like, they were making a huge deal about it, and it's like all of these data sets that are like from years of history and everything else on all these different aspects about the planet.
It's not like public though, right? It's like an AWS service.
Yeah, you have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. Yeah, you do have to pay for it, but the cost of using that data is probably not that bad, considering what you're having access to.
I bet my company right now could use something like that. We do it to, we use Google's API for, monitoring hospitals and things like that. So we can pull records from these hospitals and reach out to these hospitals, all through like automation. But if we had access to something that was a little more robust and that adapted on its own, that would be a lot better.
I mean, think about like from a logistics perspective, right? Like from a good side and a bad side, right? Like you think about how well these logistics companies like run, right? And and I'm going to go back to the bad side.
Detect a person's movements and patterns.
Exactly. And more of like, think about it from this perspective, right? If I'm using this data for my logistics company, right? And say I'm like an armored car company, or I'm like, any type of shipping company, then in theory, the hackers could then take that same model and replicate it pretty closely what I'm going to be doing for my logistics.
Here, okay, I want to point out how I would go about doing this in a nefarious way. Is I'm guessing people, when they hear about using geolocation and AI in a bad way, you would have to go and like study this person for like a month or two to like develop their patterns. You don't. Here's how I would do it. Step 1. do a separate ML project where you train the machine learning AI on a person's face and body. Now they've recognized that face and that body, and they only know that face and that body. You take that and you apply it to the geolocation. Now, instead of waiting months to like collect data on this person, you have this second part of AI that you've written will go to back in the past and just look for them. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. Through all like Google Images and stuff like that. Oh my God.
If you have a general idea of where they live, right?
Yeah.
Like you like, oh, I know
check
they live
social
in this
media,
zip code.
check Google Maps.
Yeah.
Check. Yeah. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Dude, you can.
Yeah. And then not only that, but now you're finding them and everywhere they go, but now you're having an AI on top of that. So you have two layers of AI, one that's going to find them and find everything they've been going to. The second layer is determining their patterns and their behaviors. Right. 7:30 every day, coffee. 9 p.m. taking a shit, you know?
Yep. No, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So speaking of the person side,
and do that in a few hours, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of the person side, now here's the next step to that is really scary considering the election's coming up. And actually, Sam Altman actually talked about this during his congressional hearing, but the deep fake.
Oh my goodness, deep fakes.
So the deep fake
dangerous.
game right now, especially with the progression of AI going into a political election, right? I mean,
not just politics. We can talk about blackmail too. You can make blackmailing videos of people, and nobody would be the wiser too if you were good enough at it. You know,
I agree. And blackmail, it can be very serious. But when we're coming into a political election, right, and the ability for someone to just make out of thin air a deep fake that looks exactly like a candidate, even if it's not real, it still will leave a negative impact in people's minds.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the terrifying part. Yeah. I mean, imagine, and this is terrible, but imagine you like make a deep fake on some political candidate shooting someone, or some political candidate, doing drugs, or some political candidate, right, doing like some racially charged thing. Like all of that stuff can severely impact a race, even if it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah,
and on top of that, it's also really difficult to trace where they come from.
I just want to point out, in about 4 to 5 years, deepfakes are going to be so good, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
I mean,
you won't be able to.
Which comes to the question: if deepfakes get that good, how long will it be before AI is just completely doing movies?
Not long. But we're talking about deepfakes. We're not talking about completely creating something from scratch. We're talking about you film somebody, right? You get a camera, you film an actual person, and then you have an AI draw over that person, essentially.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
So it's a little different. But if you're talking about AI to create like a commercial from scratch, people are already doing that. But they're using it as a tool right now. It's not completely doing it all on its own. Right. And they've made some pretty cool stuff. There's like some abstract art one that came out with AI the other day, and it was just, I think it was like with Coca-Cola or something, or some soda.
Dude, it's just,
and it was
mind-boggling.
It was amazing. I think somebody did it for fun. It wasn't like an official Coca-Cola commercial. It was just somebody did something, and it was like really cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, we talked about Midjourney in previous episodes, but like just what you can do right now with AI is just, with that side of it is absolutely
it can be scary. Yeah. And we got to keep an eye on these things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of keeping an eye on, back to your facial recognition little tutorial or little, how you would do it. We haven't even talked about how the government is using AI and what they could use
if they aren't already. They're using it.
We do. We talked about that in a previous episode, but I think we should reiterate on it that like your face is 3D modeled in some database that the government owns, more than likely.
I don't know about 3D modeled, but it's definitely, there's a data set on it, for sure.
Yeah, there is a data set on it. Like, it wouldn't be that hard for them to 3D model it anyway. If
they wanted to. I don't think they need to. That's why I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. But your face has a data set, right? And so every freaking camera that the FBI or the CIA wanted to get into at this point, I think is fair game, and they can use AI.
They don't need cameras. That's the scary part. This is what
that's
we were
true. They don't even
earlier.
need cameras.
They don't need
just
the cameras.
need your phone.
The drones.
Drones in your phone.
Yeah. Well, drones is how they're gonna do it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
If they can't track you on a public network or a public social, what do you call it, like Facebook? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, this and even it was
they'll send a drone to monitor you. You know what I mean?
Well, and on top of that, this was like 10 years ago, I think, maybe even longer. But the Navy came out with this little like press hearing or something like that, talking about one of their satellites. And this, again, 10 years ago, they had a satellite that could see a fly sitting on someone's shoulder.
No way.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That was the claim. I don't know if it's real. Yeah, but this was a very long time ago. So
man, I guess we do have the Hubble telescope. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not that far fetched to think that you could just point the Hubble telescope back towards the Earth instead of space.
Right. That's completely right. Speaking of things that go up into space, this always takes me back to War Games, the movie. Because when we talk about artificial intelligence and, how we will eventually become, pretty much exclusively reliant on it, in my opinion, just like we are with phones now and the rest of technology. AI and cyber warfare.
Oh, my goodness. There's a book called Bobaverse, and it sounds ridiculous, but it goes over it's such a good book to read about stuff like this, about our future as essentially being sentient computer people. You know what I mean? Like becoming ones and zeros, or actually it'd probably be more likely, hopefully it'd be more likely it'd be quantum. Yes. Yeah. We'd have a quantum existence.
Which remind me again, quantum is 0, 1, 0 or 0, 1 and then 1, right? Because there's 3 states in quantum.
There's 3.
But I think it's a both.
No, the third state is existing and not existing at the same time.
Yeah, like exactly.
Schrodinger's cat or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about quantum computing, but that is
it's complicated. I've tried. Granted, I've only spent like an hour or two occasionally looking into it, but it's very complex, and I'm nowhere. I don't know. Still have no idea.
Yeah. I really feel like it's just like a superhero team up moment when, and of course it's just keywords, but you talk about quantum computing combined with AI. Like, that's where your sentient
that's the
AI
ultimate
will
goal.
come from. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
So
once we have enough qubits to process. Once you have enough qubits, we can process more information. We can build a full-fledged, true artificial intelligence that has a conscience and can make its own decisions.
Yeah. I think that I want to say that the government is probably what scares me most with AI, but actually I think it's corporations.
It's corporations.
I think that unchecked corporations.
Yeah, unchecked corporations are our greatest enemy in this scenario.
Yeah.
And it's not just corporations.
That you hold dear will be yours anymore.
It's not just corporations. It's actually more scary than corporations when I think about it is the individual. Because think about all the open source projects that came to light, all of the individual, maybe teams of 2 or 3 people, or even one person that put something on GitHub and changed the industry forever.
That's true.
It's the individual that's going to change the world.
Well, change the world, yes, but aren't you worried about like corporations and
corporations will use it, right?
But I mean more of like the manipulation part, and we already see that today, right?
Oh yes, yeah. Oh, you're talking about just straight up manipulation.
Yeah, like in using AI to like, I mean, Jesus Christ,
they do it for marketing, right?
Yeah,
they manipulate people to market things.
Yeah, exactly, and how they can use AI to manipulate you, exponentially.
Yeah,
because they know what you want. They've known what you want, but now they know how to phrase it in a way that you'll click on it.
No, they don't even need to know. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
The scary part is they don't need to know anymore. They literally just click a button and it targets you. And then it learns about you. And then it can manipulate you based on your own behaviors. Yeah. And there's not much you can do about that.
And it's scary because I can already tell ChatGPT to start learning how I it's constantly learning, right? It's constantly learning how I type, how I answer questions, how I question, how my thought process works, right? And so now it could type as if I'm typing it, so it can mimic me, right?
And everybody is feeding this You know, not just one person. It's not learning from just your chat and learning just about you. Like, it's learning from everybody all at once how to answer these questions. It's learning about its own mistakes. When you tell it, no, that's not the answer I'm looking for, it learns. Yeah. And it benefits everybody as it learns, right?
Right. Yeah. And so my question is, you know, can we limit this in any way? Like, I mean, is there any way to should we limit the, you know,
the best way to limit this?
AI?
Well, the best way to limit this would be government regulation. You have government regulation where you have to pass certain checks before you can release some form of AI to the public.
I agree, but I just don't have any confidence that the government will do their due diligence.
No, I don't have any confidence either, unless they build out like a whole other branch
of nothing but AI.
Yeah, like
engineers.
the FDA, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
it would be something specifically for AI.
Yeah. It would have to be.
I mean,
there would have to be a whole staff on board. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It terrifies me. It terrifies me that anyone, anywhere now can generate content with the appearance of professional, right?
Or not just generating content. We're talking about getting into systems, manipulating people. We're talking about becoming somebody else and manipulating people. I could build an AI that goes and let's say I'm a hacker. I get access to someone's email at your company, and then what I do is I have that AI read that person's email as a data set, and then it learns how to become that person, right? Then it starts sending emails as that person, right? And you think it's that person because it's talking in their tone, it's emailing in their tone, right? Like it's doing all their little mannerisms that you would do in an email, right? And then it gets some form of information. Then maybe it can move on to the next target, and then the next target until it gets what it wants, which is maybe a bank account information or something like that, or until it becomes the CEO, and then everybody thinks it's the CEO because it's talking like the CEO or emailing or texting people like the CEO.
You know, here's a question for you. Can AI kill?
If you program it to. Right now, AI isn't true AI, you know?
No, I know. But what I mean is I think AI already has the potential to kill people. And what I mean by that
you mean
unintentionally.
You mean unintentionally somebody does something and then
someone or intentionally
as a result gets killed.
I mean, think about it. How many people that are super successful, you know, off themselves because of like, you know,
it's not AI killing them. It's not AI killing them. It's essentially the outcome of what the AI
outcome.
did.
But it just like social media, right? I mean, like, where's the statistic on how many people have committed suicide because of social media?
Bullying with AI.
Yep. Bullying with AI. You know exactly how to hurt them.
Some dumb kid who's angry is going to take some pictures or something from somebody they don't like, and then they're going to train an AI on it as soon as AI gets good enough at this, right? And then they're going to release a porn video of that person to the school.
That's exactly
or something like that to like just bury them. You know what I mean? To just devastate their lives. Because they're kids, exactly they don't know, they don't understand the value of life, right? And they don't understand what they're just angry, they're reacting, their prefrontal cortex isn't all the way there, so everything is just a immediate reaction to everything. Yeah. So they're going to do something stupid like this.
Yeah, I don't know. It just terrifies me. It honestly terrifies me with the division in this country right now of adding AI to the mix. I mean, already social media, for the most part, in my opinion, is what's been fueling the...
social media has been fueling AI before we've even realized it.
Yeah.
Before
social media has been building the models, right? From a user perspective and a person perspective, it does nothing but builds models.
We all have profiles on us.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it just scares me with us, you know, in this day and age, and having a tool as powerful as this with no oversight. I mean, there is
no oversight. You're right.
There's no oversight. So anyone can do literally anything.
Yep.
All behind a screen too.
There's, you know, we got to discuss the legal repercussions of like using somebody else's face for like making a movie.
Well, yeah,
if I wanted to make a Keanu Reeves movie right now, I could. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you could write the fucking script to do it too.
Yep. And then I could just train an AI on his voice, you know, and there you go. I have Keanu Reeves. You know?
Exactly. The one thing we didn't cover is, in addition to that, I'd just like to touch on it briefly. But like when you build these profiles, right? And even if they're not selling them, right? Say they're too HIPAA or too, SPI to sell. But basically you have this profile. And then there's this whole thing of like, well, AI is like storing all of this, but are these companies actually protecting your data too? So like you've got this huge big profile. We talked
about this a while ago too.
We did talk about this a while, but I just thought I'd bring it back up that like, none of that data is 100% safe. Right.
And that goes back to my point when we talked about this data. And I said an end user license agreement and asking permission for data is not the route we should go. And like declining or accepting this is not a good route. We need a good route is regulation and holding the companies accountable, right? Not holding the end user accountable, not making the end user decide whether the company can have their data and what to do with their data, right? That's not the end user's responsibility. They want to use this application. They want to use this iPhone. You know what I mean? They're not going to go buy $1,000 brick,
Exactly.
It's up to the government or the companies to be held accountable.
Yep. That's exactly right. So, and on top of that, I really think that our congressmen and women and the people that are in charge need to understand these threats better so they can make better legislation on them.
Yes. Yeah. They definitely have to understand this better. I don't know how you would. I don't think they care to learn, to be honest, but that's
because they have someone telling them.
That's an opinion. That's not based on fact. We
won't go into that side of it. We won't go into the political side.
That's more political side. Yeah.
Yeah. But the bottom line is that people need to know. In power, people need to know what this is so they know how to correctly legislate on it, right? And correctly enforce it.
This again goes to the separate branch they need to regulate this kind of stuff.
Right.
They should have built a branch out of the government back when data was getting big, right? Back when we started doing data as this huge conglomerate thing. The reason they didn't do this is because the government saw it as an opportunity to monitor its citizens.
Yep. No, that you're completely right. Because now we can tap into all of that data that they're just willing to give away. When before it was like, we're not even going to answer the door for the census. I'm not saying everyone did that, but I'm just saying like that was considered, the government finding out about you. And, now everyone's like, oh yeah, we're signing up for a smartphone.
They know if you think the government doesn't know about you, you're wrong.
Yeah.
They know. If you're not on, you could put yourself in a Faraday cage. They're still going to know you're there.
Are they going to care? Probably not.
It depends.
But they still know.
They'll monitor you, right? If you're suspicious,
if you live inside of a Faraday cage, maybe
they're gonna monitor you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably monitor that person too.
I would. If I was a government agency, some guy was hiding in a Faraday cage and was like blocking all the signals and hiding from social media, I'd be like, yeah, just keep a drone around this place. Let's put him on a watch list.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe you and I should just go work for the FBI. This would be a lot easier.
No, I don't want to. Too many hoops to jump through. We could be private contractors.
But it doesn't pay enough either. Yeah, let's be private contractors because the FBI does not pay as much.
Yeah. I want $250 billion.
$250? That's a new number.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're rambling, so it's time to conclude. Are you ready?
Yeah. We started to dip off there, jumped off a cliff at the end.
Oh my god! I felt the barrel starting to roll down the hill, and I was like, "All right, let's hit a tree and keep this thing up."
Let's wrap it up.
All right, so let's quickly summarize everything we talked about. So we talked about AI can be used by bad guys.
Yes, but they can be used and they will be used.
They will be used.
We need to keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Yes. So bad guys, not just including hackers, but also the government, right? And what they're already doing with it. China is a great example. Just Google China AI, people spying.
Anyone with a malicious intent can use AI for malicious things.
Yes. Yeah. But specifically, the big focuses that I think you and I are concerned about right now are hacker groups being able to organize it, right? And train those models much more efficiently than your everyday
Russian
Joe.
hacker groups utilizing
or North Korea.
It
North Korea too. And then we got, obviously, foreign governments and our government using it, right, to track people individually. And then we've also got corporations, which has been a concern for a very long time. But with the presence of these new models coming out and these new...
becoming way more advanced.
Right.
People are starting to understand how powerful AI is.
Exactly. Well, and then and don't forget deep fakes. We talked about deep fakes. So
deep fakes. Deep fakes is gonna be an issue. That's for sure.
So again, I'll go back to the conversation that Sam Altman, that's his name, right? Sam Altman had with he's the creator of ChatGPT or OpenAI, the CEO of OpenAI.
Oh right, OpenAI.
But he had the correct congressional hearing, and his biggest concern is the political election coming up, the election that's coming up in 2024.
Right. That's going to be interesting.
Deep fakes and the conversations, right? Everything, if everything is generated by AI and is keyed specifically for you to vote or not vote, but click on like, retweet, and then eventually go vote for that candidate, and it's all being done by AI, by someone just saying, make this sound better, because I really want, or alternatively, this person fucking sucks. We're going to spew a whole bunch of lies about this candidate because we don't want him to win, right?
Or even worse, the AI is going to learn what people want and then just print out articles that the candidate's going to give all these people what they want.
Right.
And it's all just a lie.
Yep. Well, we already have that today. So.
We already have that, but it's going to be way more advanced and way more detailed, right? Yeah. It's going to be so much so that they're going to be able to
They're just going to take it as truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
The trick is that the higher intelligence you have as a person, AI is going to focus on those people more than anyone, because those are the people that currently are not being tricked, right? And how can we get more people to be tricked by this? So
yeah, it's true. Actually, the people I'm actually most concerned with are the people who don't understand AI, because those people, you'll be able to throw a deep fake at them and they'll believe it immediately. They won't even question it because they don't know it exists.
Right. That's exactly right.
That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah. If only the news would talk about this and educate people, Right.
That would be nice.
I mean, maybe they do. I don't watch the news because,
last I checked, they just fearmonger people into everything, so we'll see.
That's an opinion, so we'll leave it at that.
That's an opinion.
All right. I think we've hit on this pretty good. Red, until next time.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
See ya.